Hello everyone, and welcome back to Call of Cthulhu. So I did try and stream this last night, but I was having issues with the uploading, so I do know some of the early stuff that goes on, but I didn't get past the first conversation after waking up. And I now have to readjust my skills yet again. And incidentally, before getting into this to play, one of my recommended videos on YouTube was for Overly Sarcastic Productions, and they were talking about I'm assuming that's actually Cthulhu himself.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
But anyway, it's Overly Sarcastic Productions, and I went through all these at the end of part 2, so you can refer to that if you want to read them in depth, or just pause the video. But anyway. One more. Okay. But anyway, they did I think about a half-hour long video.
Do what you want. I'm just trying to reason with you.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
But yeah, they discussed, let's see, Shadow over Innsmouth, Dunwich Horror, Cool Air. I'm trying to think whether they did a fourth one or not. And it gives a nice little overview of his life, as well as pointing out that the guy was virulently racist. I mean, like, even by the standards of his time, he was racist as hell.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
And it's an entertaining
Bradley?
and well-done video.
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
Him.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Oh, medicine and professional.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a
Well,
hard time
us
believing
believe.
you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on it.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital, and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events.
Speaking of, I'm getting distracted by
don't.
Murray.
Let's talk about something else.
I mean, look at her in the background right now. She's been doing that for the entire conversation.
You two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Alrighty.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Because they were both artists. Lovecraft himself tended to... Let's see. Yeah, actually the Call of Cthulhu, like the actual short story, or novella I guess it would be called, was about how... Let's see. Salt of the earth folks, you know, common dock workers, that sort of... You know, the laborers, tended to just not notice anything. The highly educated, like the... Well, yeah, so Salt of the earth would be Bradley. The educated would be herself and Edward Pierce, where they would have some nightmares, but nothing they couldn't handle. But then those that are artistically inclined would have just the worst nightmares to the point that they couldn't sleep whatsoever.
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He
So
founded
there's
the
the connection.
hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Double connection.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller.
I thought she was the nurse.
And the nurse. Blood. Everywhere. My legs. The pain. I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed... demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving.
Oh.
Not to...
Yes,
What?
I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the...
Well, he's dead, but not from Fuller.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I'm gonna go with the truth.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the
Did you see the scratches on the walls up there?
I really think she's involved. How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you said? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Apparently there are going to be choices like that in the game. Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close, it's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for her. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one. Oh yeah, the death of Francis Sanders. Dr. Fuller. Dr. Fuller reigns as the undisputed master of the Riverside Institute and of its cellars, in which he carries out illegal experiments on his patients. I don't know what he has done to me, but I shouldn't be back on my feet so soon after my fall when the tunnels under the Hawkins mansion caved in. This man is dangerous, and I'd swear that he knows more about all this business than he's willing to tell. I'm sure he's one of the people that
The other night's events are still confused in my head. The other night's events are still confused.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
I'm guessing I can't go upstairs. Oh, okay, leave. Sanders residence. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up and solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. This could prove interesting. It would also give a pretense to enter the house and maybe look at the painting myself.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders? I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may.
She's
However,
definitely
before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
I'm aware.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Oh, cat.
Well, look who's here.
Am I
You know
interrupting
each
anything?
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
Sarah Hawkins' father.
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker.
Catherine
This
Baker.
way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
She's downright shameless in that bathrobe in this era. Or is that a bathrobe? Or not
May I
bathrobe?
inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died.
It
How was
wasn't
he?
by their choice.
Were you present when he had this attack?
Oh boy.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable.
Good way to
The
put
man
it.
I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe
Fair
my
enough.
mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
I'll try
It's
it.
terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured?
Entirely true.
Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel
Awesome.
so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see
I don't
it,
blame you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
I may as well get the investigation up one more point. Oh, okay. Apparently just clicking to a different tab will do it. Ooh, he was a wreck for 47. It's clear that she holds Sarah Hawkins responsible for the death of her husband. But what I don't understand about Irene Sanders is this mix of sadness and insensitivity. It looks like she had given up on her husband long before his horrid death in the cellars at the Riverside Institute.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Okay, that's a new one. Oh, one of her.
Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even?
Well, his blinding himself definitely did it.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Uh-oh.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
Apparently I failed at that one. That's why she...
I need to see it.
Well, that's why she hated the painting, obviously. Oh, nice. Ooh. Probably locked, yep. And he bought a number of other paintings from her. What was that? That had blood on
Let's
it.
see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
You alright? And I can't talk to her. I don't want to do that again because it might be taking that out, or it might be playing it again and doing... yeah. Ooh.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
And though, if I recall right, that's what I was seeing in there. One more, and... wow, one more on both. What are the odds? The Whale and the Cod, or a brief history of Darkwater Island. Buddy, what is up with you right now? Seriously, that was one of your more distressed little meows right there.
I could use one of those.
Use with caution. Descriptive name, somniferous.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
This volume has spent some time in Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. Would you read the book?
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I'm not here to cause trouble, if that's what's worrying you.
Worry me? Don't overestimate yourself. If the last beating wasn't enough for you, I can always give it another go. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network. and a means of transport to the mainland.
Fair
A
enough.
choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
I think you have far more contacts. Let's see, what's the title of that? Honestly, I'm of the mind that more knowledge makes you better prepared. Forewarned is forearmed. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Oh, here we are. Malleus Bestiarum. Ulysses Aldfavant. Well, at least I went up one in the occult. And, of course, my sanity. Nope, can't do anything yet. Yeah, I figured as much. And ditto. Jeez, his arm scared me. Uh-oh. I do not like that.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Holy. So the Sphinx, but not. Two of them at that. Okay, I'd have assumed that was the Shambler, but... oh. That could almost be Pickman's model. Holy hell. There's the Shambler.
The public entrance to the gallery.
Same one, although two different color schemes.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Ugh, that hurts the eyes to look at. I think the level designers got a little lazy on that
The
one.
man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
And all of them are tentacled in one way or another. Whew. I'm curious what's in that painting, though. What, buddy? I know the fleas are probably biting you right now, but... I have a feeling that the lights are about to go out. That's the only somewhat normal looking one right there. Oh!
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Far from possessing the talents of Sarah Hawkins, Sanders drew a dagger with a tortured form down to the smallest detail. The guard carries a strange esoteric symbol, a recurring feature of his correspondence with Sarah. And that's what was drawn on the wall, actually. Hopefully I don't gouge my eyes out. Yep, saw that coming. Especially with the hiding spots. She was trying to banish the Shambler. That much is abundantly clear. Holy shit.
What the hell was that?
Don't look at it. Okay. Oh, a cult. Here we are. Men will gather the knowledge, though, through the lines dictated to me by the great old ones, but also in other volumes. The visions that assail me whisper me names and silhouettes of mystical creatures. So the Malleus Monstrorum, repository of all anatomical, cosmic, and dimensional knowledge, will be seen as the authoritative work. This book, unholy among the most cursed books, will one day be the final rampart between man and the predators that are waiting to devour him, hidden behind the veils of parallel dimensions. The dimensional Shambler comes from a dark and inhospitable domain, where the rarity of food sources keeps it in a state of permanent starvation. This is why it is in a constant state of readiness to travel to other dimensions in order to feed on its inhabitants. Make sure you never weaken the veils of your dimension, otherwise you risk attracting this very dangerous creature. Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it for its being to anchor itself in your dimension, and to allow it to rip you open with its claws. Whew. Keep it in the periphery. Where'd it go? Can I get out through here? Apparently not!
I can't even touch it.
Back in the closet. Into this closet, then. I have a feeling that the dagger is what I need to get, but where the hell is it in relation to everything else?
Damn. Did it hear that?
I'm sure it did. Even if it didn't, I'm not taking the chance. Yep. That's not the right dagger. Okay, let's see, clues. Alright, so it should be kind of a twisted one. Oh, God! There it is. Fuck, 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 fuck. I'm dead. It saw me go in here, I'm sure. Yep. I'm dead. Fair enough.
What the hell was that?
Alright. So I need to find that particular one. Too many. Not curved enough. Uh-oh. Shit. Too many. Yeah, it doesn't have the right amount. So it's got to be in here. Just where in here? Okay. Get in there. Hopefully it didn't see me pop in. Okay, it did not. And I've lost sight of it entirely. There it is. Please leave. Before I go completely bonkers in here, apparently. Apparently it's more than a little claustrophobic. That's definitely not it. That's the closest I've seen. Why do I have the freaking lantern again? This is it.
Damn. This dagger looks different.
Yep. Wrong dagger. Okay. So it should be one that kind of wraps around itself.
What the hell was that?
That's not it. That's definitely not it. That's not it. That's certainly not it. That's not it. How about over here? Nope. I'll accept that. Holy shit, I got in there at just the right moment. That's not it. I know that's not it.
Damn. This dagger looks different. Maybe I can use this dagger.
I'm thinking I have to use it on the painting itself. Because if I try taking the shambler out, I don't think that will go well. I'm thinking it has to be the painting itself. Strike at the source of what's allowing it into the world to begin with. And back into the closet. Okay, good call. Oh, holy hell. And back out. Did it spot me, or? Apparently, yes. Get the painting, get the painting, come on! There we go! Might want to get out of the way. Slash it, slash it. Got the dagger still. Now that actually would have been a pretty good time for a quick time event. That's not good.
What's the matter with you?
The thing on the... Okay. Kudos to whoever came up with the achievement names, because From Beyond... And what was the other one? Beyond Reality, Sarah Hawkins, Strange High House, Terrible Old Man, yep. Let's see, Memory, no. Sacred Cave, I believe, was an early one. The Pit of Horror, no. Temple, no. From Beyond and The Thing on the Doorstep were both titles.
You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
The painting was cursed.
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
Wait, what? You actually believe me?
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information.
That is a good point.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Nameless bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. Okay, so that's not good. Mundane or fantastic is what I'm wondering at this point. Because it's entirely possible that it could be robbery gone wrong. Given an island like Darkwater, that's unlikely. If I see any books or...
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
This practical work, written by Sigmund Freud for psychologists, describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analysis must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my nightmares. Oh, awesome. Oh. Meet the Shambler. It is in Francis Sanders' private gallery that Pierce discovers the identity of the Shambler, a huge artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins. When Pierce approached it, a creature burst forth from the painting and immediately chased after him. This beast from another dimension has such a hold on the mind of a person, he finds himself in its presence, that a simple glance in its direction is enough for Pierce to lose some sanity. Pierce finally managed to send the shambler back into the painting using a dagger engraved with a strange symbol. But this encounter has left its mark on the psyche of the investigator. Still under the influence of the creature, he almost stabbed his own hand. Dagger of the Ancients. This exceptional dagger of Ottoman origin probably dates from the 16th century. It bears the Elder sign on its hilt. It apparently belonged to Pargali Ibrahim Pasha, Grand Vizier at the court of Suleiman the Magnificent. Legend tells that Pargali used the symbol on the dagger to protect the court from a creature that haunted the mirrors of the palace. What is certain is that Suleiman had his vizier executed. Did he fear him after this demonstration of power? The painting was exposed in Francis Sanders' gallery, but I think that the creature no longer requires it for movement. It went on down Sanders in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. I do not know where it comes from, but one thing is sure. It's starving. Did I succeed in sending it back to its world? I'm not sure.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to this voice in his head because it holds the truth. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the water surrounding dark water. This phenomenon appears even more mysterious because, up till then, the region was a favored refuge for cetaceans. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Scylla returns to port with that gigantic creature on board. Its crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship.
What happened here?
Not yet. Okay. Anatomy and dissection 2. And I think... Yep, just hit 3.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers placed truth on the same footing as a religion.
These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the esoteric movement founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensively on the text of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the nameless bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Boy, I am happy I'm looking around here because I'm getting quite a few medicine tomes. Oh, Puritan colony led by Reverend John Wickwood settled on the island during the 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. Yeah, I'm gonna go in there first before doing the recreation. Another medical tome. And bright light.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably.
Okay, can't go in there.
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy.
Okay, apparently I failed that medicine check.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What killed all these animals?
Same mark as on the dagger.
What the... Charles Hawkins?
How would I know that? And Sarah.
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
If somebody finds these memoirs, it will no doubt mean that I have encountered serious troubles. My only hope is that my mortal remains are still in this plane so that they may be recovered and cremated. The funeral urn should be delivered to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. What follows is of the utmost importance. Whoever reads these lines and exhibits acuity as least as sharp as my own can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each one hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered even if, as the celebrated playwright says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Because even though I am usually an adept of organized chaos, I must admit that more often than not, it still is reason that prevails. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver the contents into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The contents are not only of a fount of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. I will neither be there to guide you, nor to suffer from your actions.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
That is a...
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
This key that bears the Elder Sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch whose purpose is to push back the forces of the Great Old Ones were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. Yeah, I'm not doing that yet.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection?
Nostradamus. So let's see. What was the clue? Okay. Okay, Drake's memories is what I was looking for. Oh, good lord. let's see. 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if it's the celebrated... Okay, celebrated author. He's got to be talking about Shakespeare.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Oh, okay, so...
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
King Solomon.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
So let's
Another
see.
volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham
4,
Editions. How many
8,
volumes are there in this collection?
6,
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
3.
Arkham Editions. How many volumes are
Corpus
there in this
Hermeticum.
collection?
Ah! On different beliefs was... Okay. So there's 2. Let's see if there's anything else over here.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
So I've got 2 and 3, but not the first. I want to try finding the first one before going for those. Okay, these are all the Arkham editions. A little surprised that one's not popping up, since it is Arkham Anthology. Oh, okay, I do have all 3.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
I think he's reading an excerpt.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Alright, so...
Another volume by Arkham
Key of Solomon.
Editions.
Maybe.
Arkham Editions.
So this is
How many
4...
volumes are there in this collection?
Azathoth and Other Horrors.
Another volume by
Isis
Arkham Editions.
Unveiled.
Arkham Editions.
The Prophecies.
How many volumes are there in
Corpus
this collection?
Hermeticum.
Another volume by Arkham Edition. Arkham Editions. Never heard. How many volumes are there in this
Oh.
collection? Another volume by
Aurea
Arkham Editions.
Lunda.
Arkham Editions.
Things that should not be.
Never heard of him.
Alright, so 4...
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Boy, was that in keeping with Lovecraft's racism.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Okay, so first one was definitely...
What did Drake say about this
Alright,
collection?
4.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Oh,
So these are the volumes that Drake... What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a
Corpus
particular volume.
Hermeticum.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Seriously, unless it's 999. But no, I'm thinking Key of Solomon.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the work.
Let's see. Professor Armitage.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Albert Wilmarth. But I don't... Oh, dang it. Professor Armitage. Okay.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9.
Okay, so 9 is the last one. First one is Key of Solomon, so 4 something 9.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a
Massa de
particular
Requiem
volume.
per Shugai.
So these are the volumes that
prophecies.
Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say
Aurea
about this
Linda.
collection? Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes
Things
that
that should
Drake
not
was
be,
talking
not
about.
that
What
one.
did Drake say
Corpus
about this
Hermeticum.
collection? Drake talked about
Isis
a particular
Unveiled.
volume. So these are the volumes
Alright,
that
so it's
Drake
White
was talking.
Queen.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
So
these are the volumes that
4
Drake
something
was talking
9.
about in his message.
Wouldn't be
What
that.
did Drake say about this
Actually,
collection?
wait a minute. Would it be?
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark souls. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in
Alright,
his
479. I'll try that. Nope, not 479.
What did Drake say about this
Corpus
collection?
Hermeticum.
Drake talked about
Aurea
a
Linda,
particular
maybe?
volume.
So 419? Nope. Not 419.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
7 was
what
the
did
first
Drake
one.
say
Key
about
of
this
Solomon.
collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
9.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
8.
What did Drake say about this collection?
6. I'll try 469. Unless I'm wrong on the first one, which maybe. 5 I cannot examine for some reason. I'm gonna try brute forcing it, so... Okay.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the
Are
Grail
you-
does not...
The Chalice of Knowledge.
protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to... And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secret.
Alright,
The
so
chalice
red.
of knowledge.
1, 2. Alright, so 1 near the left side of that handle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. So 5 is the first number. I was mistaken. Alright, so 9 is definitely the last, 5 is definitely the first.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the
The
gods.
Queen has little
Let
protection.
those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my
3.
will strengthens as my apprehensions grow.
So 5, 3, 9?
Refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Yep. Now where's Miskatonic, though? Because that cannot be on Darkwater. If I cannot even comprehend that it might be on Darkwater Island. Like, it has to be elsewhere. Oh, shit. That's less than ideal. In the Riverside again in an institution? You discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find what the letter and Sarah Hawkins had hidden there. A book covered in human skin lied inside, irresistibly attracted the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. Okay, that would do it. Kind of wish they just let me go into it blind, though, because that would have been interesting to try getting my bearings. There we go. I was getting my... Huh. Oh, yeah, that's because of the... I was trying to figure out why the bar was discolored about halfway up and then stopped, but that's because that's where I have the... Yeah, pardon me. Little chat window open in the bottom left.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told. After inhaling chemicals.
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin. Tender at the touch. Slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
Could it have been something he ate?
30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue.
Ooh.
The smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail.
Yeesh.
You won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
Yep, this is Innsmouth.
In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a
He's
baby.
basically turning into a
Look
fish.
at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Eggs?
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
Well, Dr. Fuller's not
You
paying
know-
attention.
I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
Tending to him
What
since
I
you
did?
weren't.
How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. Provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
His limbs? His body temperature? I don't know what experiments you've undertaken, but this is going too far.
Oh, I sense some excitement beneath your indignation. Could it be you wish to join me in my scientific endeavors?
You are a brilliant physician, Dr. Fuller, but this man has the attributes of some kind of animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office. What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
So I'm now playing as her instead.
An unknown medicine. Judging by the other ones, it causes heavy side effects.
Doctor, please. My chest. Oh.
His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation. Nurse? Deborah, come and help me, please. His potassium level is too high. Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin, calcium, and sodium bicarbonate.
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you. He's in your hands.
Okay, I can't access Pierce because, well, I'm currently not Pierce. Okay, he's settled down a bit.
Hay fever. What's he doing here?
Ah, the whaling station. What's wrong with me?
What are you talking about?
Doctor, that you?
Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station. See?
The one that hides the smuggling business.
Oh no, not them. They don't go on that side of the island. Everyone in his place. The captain on one side, Cat on the other, and me. Well, I've been to the whaling station, I have.
What did you see there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. The floor was all rotten and I fell straight through.
Right into
And
the
that's
tunnels.
how you broke your back.
Perhaps. No idea. Passed out. I'll just sleep a bit.
Okay. Oh.
He broke his back in an accident down by the docks. Mrs. Sanders?
Wait, what's Irene's...
Why did nobody tell me about her admission?
Fuller added a handwritten note. He recommends to take her down to the psychiatric wing in order to provide her with the quiet and rest she needs.
Intoxication from breathing organic vapors. What is the boiler room key doing here? The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. Another insomniac. I should find the cause for such a widespread trouble.
This...
Dr. Colden, here you are at last. This patient was again brought up to the psychiatric wing. We've been following the treatment you prescribed, but the dysgeusia persists and he's lost a great deal of weight. We haven't been able to move him. The stress makes him hyperallergic.
Sir, I am going to examine you. Do you understand? Inject him with a dose of pentobarbital, intramuscular, so that I can conduct the clinical examination. He bit his lips so much, they're still bleeding. White froth, evidently because of such drooling. His binds left bloody wounds.
So, Doctor, what should we do with this patient?
You did good work. The tranquilizer is kicked in. Now you can disinfect and bandage his wounds.
Thank you, Doctor. And as to his weight loss?
I'll prescribe an antifungal treatment for his dysgeusia. In the meantime, feed him intravenously.
It'll be done.
No idea whether that will actually help. Yeah, I did not anticipate seeing Miss Sanders in there, but it also confirms that this is not a past event. That this is currently happening, otherwise she wouldn't currently be here. Let's see, that was the original patient.
This place draws you in and never lets you go.
Says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so unfair.
Elizabeth? You all right? Why is this room in such a state?
Because, as always, I'm cleaning it by myself. And the water was once again shut off this morning. I had to bother Mrs. Donovan again, giving her a new excuse to belittle me.
Come now. Don't let that witch sap your morale. We're lacking in qualified personnel, and she knows it. Her petty punishments won't last forever.
I'm trying, Doctor. I'm trying. It's just that sometimes I imagine she shuts down the water herself, just for the pleasure of harassing me.
Her time is much too precious for these kind of petty games.
Anyway, I've learned my lesson. I'll hold my tongue next time.
Courage, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly.
Ah, okay, so a distraction to get into Dr. Fuller's office, I'm assuming. For the ones that need to be restrained while being bathed. An unfortunate reality, but reality. All the same. Oh, paperweight. Took me a couple seconds to realize what that was. Yeah, honestly, that strikes me as a hazard. Oh boy. Does that mean she's gonna need to run and hide somewhere?
I have little time for you, Doctor. You'll find out that it's not only the doctors who have things to do. Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into it, rest assured. I'll tell him you...
That won't be necessary.
I will tell him, nonetheless.
Okay, that was who I had seen before. I'm gonna try getting a different solution than putting Angela out. I think her name was Angela, right?
The operating room is never accessible after an operation.
Where did my fiancé go? I hope those nutcases will stop burdening her with work.
I don't get why they have us waiting so long. Almost no patients here.
Oh, Bradley.
Ethan.
Marie,
What are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my medication, of course.
Right.
You're not here for treatment, right?
Am I so obvious?
Only to me. I know you worry about me.
I trust you. I'm Happy to see you.
Me too, Ethan. Is that all?
Well, there might be something else.
His memories, I'm guessing.
Tell me.
I have nightmares. They keep me awake every night. It seems stupid, I know, but they're terrible.
Actually, you're not the only one.
No. No one has ever seen the things I see. It's like I'm turning mad.
So many people have this affliction. It's like an epidemic.
Do you think it might be related to Fuller's work?
Yep.
I don't know yet, but I will figure all this out. Everyone in Darkwater is suffering from nightmares.
Really?
We don't have any medication left.
Oh. There's no excuse then. I should let you work.
Take care, Ethan.
You too, Marie.
Dr. Colden.
It's a quiet little town. Days go by, steady as ever. I wanted more for myself, but...
And I just wander off mid-conversation.
Dr. Colden, we need you at once in Dormitory B.
What is the problem?
Mr. Evans seems to be having trouble with his IV.
I've done an exam. Deborah is looking...
Awesome.
And the family of Mrs. Harding is asking to see her medical file.
I'll never understand why it's so hard to see patients' files around here.
Rules are rules. See, with Dr. Fuller, he's in charge.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they're still waiting, and I don't think they'll leave until they get what they want.
Understood. Anything else?
As a matter of fact, yes. A man has been brought up from the basement.
I saw him, yes. It's always the same thing. They bring them up, without any explanation, with a multitude of self-inflicted injuries. We take care of the wounds, and then they leave. Each time, I feel like I'm sending them back to hell.
Their affliction is not our responsibility. You cannot save everybody, Doctor.
This man, Edward Pierce, his file is incomplete.
Oh.
What did Fuller do to him? In theory, this is where we hang the key to the boiler room. Dr. Fuller always keeps his key with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to hide it here at some point. I'm not sure whether it'll be at her or not. Alright, Block B I already attended to. Yep. Alright, so boiler room key was somewhere in here, I recall. Or not. No, where was it?
This place draws you in and never lets you go.
Oh yeah, back in... Let's see. There it is. If I recall right.
The key to the boiler room. All I have to do is shut off the water and hope Donovan takes the bait.
I have a feeling I'll need to hide from Fuller and Donovan.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so unfair.
Bathroom man, administration. That would not be the boiler room.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again. And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan?
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. That silly goose lets herself be trodden on.
Oh, well. At least we won't have to clean for a while.
And just wait and see the next time the water's cut off. It's a real show.
We've been waiting to be restocked for weeks. We're running out of this medicine.
I know, Doctor. We sent the purchase order, though, but Mrs. Donovan refused it.
Once again.
Can't you do anything?
Donovan takes her instructions directly from Dr. Fuller. I'm afraid I can do nothing about it for the moment.
So they want the town to have nightmares.
The doses prescribed by Fuller are far too high.
So I've got some evidence of malfeasance on his part. Keywords, some evidence. Yes, you're adorable.
I can't shut this with my bare hands. I need a tool.
Let's see, Thomas Fuller. Let's see, operating room, which I know is shut.
The answers must be hidden in Fuller's office. Chronic insomnia, like half the island.
Trying to figure out where the tool might be. I'm glad I got my rounds done first.
I'll just sleep a bit more.
Yeah, she's completely gone.
Doctor?
Alton.
Yeah, kind of already done.
Dr. Fuller always keeps his key with him.
Yes, you're adorable.
I feel guilty about Elizabeth, but I need the diversion.
Elizabeth, not Angela.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly.
Dr. Colden, might there be a problem with the water?
I was about to mention it. It seems it's been cut off yet again.
I can't take this, Marie. I feel I'm gonna burst.
It's not your fault if we have defective plumbing.
And yet, I'm the one who gets punished because I'm gonna have to square off with that annoying old witch. Courage, Elizabeth. Here we go. And hold your tongue this time. Mrs. Donovan?
I'm busy. Elizabeth, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. But it's about the water.
What now?
It's
At last. The missing files must be hidden here. The Stendhal syndrome. Of course. This is where Fuller found his diagnosis for Francis Sanders. Something is wrong with these masts. It's some sort of puzzle. I've unlocked something.
Oh.
Patient files. I was right.
For Hawkins only, though.
Conclusions. Session number 17. Patient? Sarah Hawkins. The patient appears to have finally accepted
This finger belonged to a woman. Why keep it here?
It goes without saying that these peculiar delusions are the price that comes with her exceptional gifts.
Why is Ethan on medication? Why does Dr. Fuller write psychological reports about Sarah Hawkins?
At first, I presumed that her blood was the key. But I found nothing to explain Mrs. Hawkins' abilities.
Psychic.
The poor souls downstairs are not Fuller's only subjects.
Then James came, irate that Charles was keeping secrets from him.
Okay, so Fitzroy's in on it.
I presume that he will try to break into the basement sooner or later. I am prepared.
I don't like the sound of that. Is that her burnt shoe?
Hawkins, Fitzroy, and Fuller. What is the connection between these three?
It is obvious that I had the
All their
presence of mind to set them all in the basement. When all the fuss about the Hawkins incident finally comes to an end, I will dispose of her belongings.
Namely the shoe here.
In the meantime, they must remain hidden in plain sight.
Of course. Sarah Hawkins is the connection.
I'd have thought it was the fact that all of their ancestors served on the Scylla. I believe it was father for each of them.
I must go back to the basement.
I'm curious if this argument is still going on.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly.
Oh, okay. Bradley left.
The operating room is never accessible after an operation.
But there's someone in there. I'll try from Fuller's office. Fair enough. Boy, and they actually have a lift in here in the, what, 1920s? Yeah, I think it was 1927, if I recall right. Shit.
Ah, now that's the Marie that I know. I knew I could count on your scientific curiosity. It's time to show you what you were so eager to discover.
So... Oh.
Talk, filthy thief! Oh, I swear I'll shoot!
Okay, I can't actually pick a choice here. I'm gonna try doing this. I'm hoping that... Ah, crap, I may have just lost quite a bit of progress. Well, if that's the case, I'll be able to look around a bit further down there. Knowing that, you know, going through that door is going to get her at least dosed with something.
I must go back to the basement.
Okay. So at least I didn't lose much. Come on. There we go. Inventory. To-do. And that would explain why the long loading time there. Locked and... I'm assuming locked. Yep. Okay, so literally the only path forward is right into Fuller's arms.
Ah, I knew I could count. It's time to show you what you were so eager to discover. Talk, filthy thief! Oh, I swear I'll shoot!
Take a minute to look around.
Okay.
Everything points to Charles Hawkins.
He's dead!
No. He was here for a very specific item.
Oh, no.
The book. Why was it in the safe?
Have you read it?
Answer the question.
How foolish of you. Now you won't be able to escape his will. What did it show you?
She went into Fuller's office. She was looking for Sarah Hawkins' corpse.
Sarah Hawkins, you say? Let's go back to the start, shall we? Whose life did the Necronomicon choose to show you?
Marie.
Dr. Colden.
Yep.
She was at the Riverside Institute. She's in danger. I have to go.
Wait. No one knows the occult better than me. You might need my help.
All right. All right. I might need you after all.
Perfect. Let's meet later at the Hawkins mansion.
Oh, yeah!
Rescue the doctor.
Thank you, Drake.
I remember him now. He was in the bar at the opening. Oh yeah, this was in the E3 reveal trailer. The book projected Pierce into the body of Dr. Colden. The detective watched helplessly as Bradley's friend carried out her inquiry. Confronted with the experiments of Fuller, she got into his office and discovered that the doctor of the Riverside Institute was hiding information on, if not the body of, Sarah Hawkins. But she was discovered by Fuller. Pierce must save her before it's too late. So 6, 7, yeah. So I've done 3 chapters tonight. I think I'll call it here for the time being. Once it's loaded in, anyway. So, thank you all for joining me. And I will see you next time. And actually, I won't even... Yeah, I'll cut the stream here. So, like, comment, subscribe. You know, say what games you would like me to play in the future. Any constructive criticism. You know, don't just go, haha, you suck. Please. But, anyway, I will see you next time. And have a nice night if I don't see you later.